And it's so hard. It's so easy said and done, right? I'm working at a biotech startup, one of the coolest places. When I talk about it, people are like, "How is that even possible?" And even when I say it, I get excited for like half a second, but then I remember the reality of it, which is, bro, this shit's hard. It's hard. It's long. It's a lot of researching, and I'm thinking, is this does this really align with me? Why am I not feeling happy? Why am I not motivated? One, I'm not in love with the journey.
At one point, this was a dream, right? Like I remember in college, you were like, "I'm a BME. I want to
Yeah,
get into this 3D printing parts of your body and stuff." I remember that much then. So like, what's happening now? Like,
yeah. Like, and just to keep it short, like I love 3D printing, right? And when I started, even when I started my research, which led to this job, and I remember even when I was saying that, dude, I didn't believe it, but I was manifesting it, right? So I was confident and I was manifesting it. Even though I didn't truly, truly believe that I can get there, I was saying it enough where even though my first job wasn't that role, I manifested that role. I think we should talk about another day how I on manifestation because I always tell people me getting this role was truly just the universe and God's work, because
yeah,
it wasn't that I wasn't qualified for it, but more like how did they found me, a biotech startup in New York City, like a perfect scenario, found me, and they're 3D printing human body parts and tissue engineering and all the things I talked about in college, which I didn't even know existed. And they gave me a chance. And they gave me a chance in a role that I wanted to be a part of, which is research and design. So I'm living the life that I thought I wanted to be living. But as soon as I got that job, dude, I felt so great, man. I felt for that first month, even before starting the job and then during the job, I felt great. I felt like, this is great. I'm on my path. Like, this is it. This is it. A year and a half now, and I'm like back to almost square one, which is like, this is not, I'm not motivated. Like, I don't feel like I'm giving it my all. And I'm getting stressed out because I'm working on really niche things. And I'm like, how is this going to translate to my next goal? Because I'm already focused on my next goal, which isn't a bad thing. But I feel like I already got the satisfaction, the gratification from getting this role. And now I'm already moving on to the next. But in order to move on to the next, I have to do the bulk of the journey. And that bulk of the journey, I have left zero motivation for it because I never planned for it. I never thought about it that way. And now I'm trying to reset my mindset, realign my mindset. It needs to happen every day, right? To kind of retrain and trick my mind into loving the journey because I know that is more sustainable than me getting satisfaction from just starting it and getting the job and then before even doing it. If that makes sense.
how do you? I guess there are ways to trick your brain into really loving it by like giving yourself like a mini reward every time you achieve something.
Yeah,
I've
right.
seen this happen. I've seen this happen a lot in like fitness, right? Like if you're gonna lose weight, you start your cut for like 8 weeks. After 4 weeks, if you lose some weight, you're entitled to like have a cheat meal or like have a burger because you earned
I
it.
think I think you hit on another key point that I even forgot, which is like people like us who are very, like dedicated and highly critical of ourselves, at the same time we don't allow ourselves the small wins because we're so focused on that big win, right? But that big win, the reality of it is not sustainable. I actually, dude, I was watching. You know, what's perfect. Last night, I was watching this, and I want to maybe link that speech to this. It gives a perfect example. Like this guy who's valedictorian.
Just send me the link. I'll put it in the
Yeah,
description
yeah.
somewhere.
This guy who got valedictorian of his high school, he was standing up there giving a speech, and he's like, when I found out I was in running for this goal for the valedictorian, I put in my all. Like I grinded for school, and I got here. You know, and I loved it. I was so happy for about the 15 seconds that they announced my name and I came walked up to the stage. But now, as I'm on the stage, and maybe I'm butchering it a little bit, but the point of what he was saying is now I'm on the stage, I'm starting to realize all the moments I missed out on and all those things. And this slightly differs from our topic we're talking about, but I think it also matters too, right? He was so focused on the goal and thinking that this goal is going to bring him happiness that he's already unsatisfied within 15 seconds, maybe like an hour, maybe a day. But that is not sustainable, man. We're living a long life, inshallah, like hopefully. And in order to really be content, because I think everyone wants that, right? Everyone wants contentment. Everyone wants to be happy all the time, which is hard. Even happy itself is I feel like a fleeting gratification. I think instead you should be thankful
Neutral.
and show gratitude nonstop. I think that's sustainable. Regardless of the situation, you show you're thankful for what's going on because it could be worse, and you know you're gonna get there. But you know that you're human and things are gonna go up and down. But keeping that gratification constant, I think, is key. And getting back to that guy, he just said like, yeah, I missed out on all these memories. I didn't give enough time to my relationships, and his whole focus was relationships are the most important thing in in anyone's life, which I agree with for sure. But I think what I got out of it was you focus so much on a journey, be ready to lose that happiness and gratification immediately, and don't think that that is the epitome of your goal. The actual achievement is not the goal. Achievement is staying motivated and completing the goal by doing A through Z. That A through Z is the true achievement, right? That entire journey. That's like 90% of all the work. That 10% at the end is a little cherry on top. But that cherry on top doesn't mean that you have the whole ice cream. The whole ice cream, it's all the work you put in. And if you really appreciate that, and you fell in love with that, then you're able to replicate that for the next goal you have. I feel like, and throughout that, you're staying happier. If you're staying happier, staying more gratified, then you show more gratification, showing more gratitude. Then you're more motivated. You keep going. It's like a positive loop cycle instead of this negative loop cycle. That makes sense as well. I'm gonna stop lecturing. I feel like I'm going off on a tangent, but let me know if anything I'm saying is making sense. This is how I've been feeling for a long time, and I feel like a lot of people can relate too. That don't even realize it.
Like that, the valedictorian brings up a good point. Like, I feel like whenever you get motivated to start a new project or new goal, the first thing that you tend to cut out is like your social life and your relationships, because that's the thing that takes most time out of your week. Like Friday night, Saturday night, those are like, you could say, 6 to 8 hours which you could be spending working on your project, your next thing, your whatever.
Exactly.
And it's just, I guess it's very personal. Like, you have to find your balance. If you feel overworked, and if you feel like you deserve like a Saturday night out with the boys, then just take it. Like, I don't think anyone's
Yeah.
going to judge you for that.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, it's only you versus yourself. Don't worry about anyone else. As long as you're, I think the main thing is everything you set out to do. I think you should intentionally think about, is this action aligned with who I am, me long term, me short term, which may be hard. I think that requires a lot of practice, but I've been trying to put that into like everything I do. I want to make sure that it has a reason behind it. I'm not just doing it for the sake of doing it. Like this podcast, right? I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty hard for both of us to schedule this in. We're both on different sides of the globe, right? But this is important because I know long term, and even right now, even though this is not as exciting for me as I would like, I do really appreciate it, and it is aligned with me long term. Speaking about these topics, getting it out there, hearing feedback, having people engage with what I think, and vice versa. And doing a podcast has always been a goal of mine. So I'm going to take the small wins when I can, which is for me, for us, the small win could have been, oh, a lot of views, a lot of traction. But for me, the small win is, yeah, they've got this done. And if someone sees it, someone sees it. If someone doesn't see it, doesn't see it. But we're actually putting in the work. And I'm going to manifest that these type of our clips, our podcast especially, is going to get more and more traction, and people are going to relate to it more. And it's going to get better and better as time goes on because we're going to keep going at it. Inshallah.
Dude, another mindset I've had is that, okay, I mean, like, I guess you know this, but like, I've been following Gary Vee for like years now, like
I love the guy. That's
since
amazing guy.
undergrad,
Thank you
since
for
bachelor's.
introducing him to me, by the way, because this
Yeah,
guy circulates in my head too all the time. I love how he's just so direct and just says anything he wants, but he has a good point behind it.
yeah,
Hits all
and
the
one of the
beat.
things he says is that, like, another reason why he creates all these videos and content and podcasts, whatever, is so that his grandkids or his great grandkids can have like a mark of what their grandfather or great grandfather was, or like what he thought about in this time period of his life. And if those people, the next generation is going through that time, then maybe they can look back and relate.
Cool.
Yeah, so that's what I'm hoping with this series as well, like, or just any video I make, is to leave some kind of thing behind, some kind of, like, I want to say legacy, but I feel like that's going to be hard to do. But I'm going to do it. probably.
We'll do it.
Let's see.
We'll do it, man.
Yeah.
And hopefully people got something out of this from whatever this podcast is. I honestly, that name is growing on me a little bit, whatever this is. I kind of like it
Yeah.
because it really is like that, right? It is whatever this is, whatever we feel like talking about. And I kind of like that. It keeps it open ended for just time pass.